Hey YouTubers, it's Evan for next video today. So I'm in the garage again at my parents' house, and I'm smoking nice big ass cigars, the big ass cigar for life. Look at that big ass cigar. Okay, the house of keeping, smoking this Gran Habano cigar. Nice big ass cigar, as in the big ass cigar for life. And I am drinking right now some sparkling water, and no, it's not alcohol. So anyway, I want to do a video right now, kind of shoot the shit with you guys right now. So anyway, it's a very sunny day up here in Massachusetts. Massachusetts, be so damn cold here, damn hot here, damn. So I've had a good day so far. Today is my last day off the week, and then tomorrow I'm working. I'm bagging the big ass cigar, and not actually the big ass cigar, but I'm bagging groceries. I say bagging the big ass cigar as a catchphrase. So, and yeah, so I'll be bagging tomorrow, and then Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, I'll be doing the carts, nice big ass carts like the big ass cigar, not big ass farts, but big ass carts. Yeah, big ass farts like the big ass cigar, being silly ass like the big ass cigar, and yes, I say big ass a lot. So anyway. So my parents and I are gonna probably get takeout from a restaurant tonight. I think we're gonna get maybe Chipotle. We were gonna get Chipotle last weekend, but we ended up getting let's see, we ended up getting Jersey Mike's instead, which is like a sandwich shop place, because unfortunately the Chipotle was only doing online orders. So we're gonna do Chipotle this week, and yeah, so I always enjoy Chipotle. It's good food. Yeah, I usually get a Chipotle for a burrito bowl, because obviously the burrito bowls are gluten free or gluten sensitive. They're gluten sensitive. Yeah, Chipotle is pretty damn good about gluten-free or gluten-sensitive stuff, because really the only thing at Chipotle in terms of gluten-sensitive stuff, or the only thing at Chipotle is not gluten-free or gluten-sensitive, is the beer. The beer is not gluten-free, obviously. They don't have gluten-free beer. They have taco wraps, and the taco wraps have gluten, obviously. And also the flour wraps, the burrito wraps, have gluten, obviously. One sec. There's a truck that was going by, so there's a truck that was going by. Sorry about that. So kind of a loud noise in the background, kind of like so. Back to what I was saying. So yeah, pretty much everything at Chipotle is gluten sensitive. So yeah, the beer is not gluten free. They occasionally have Angry Orchard hard cider, which is obviously gluten free. They the taco wraps not gluten free, and the burrito wraps are not gluten free. So. But aside from that, and they do say that their corn chips, not porn chips, but corn chips, may have traces. They may have traces of kind of traces of wheat, not so much from the plantation. Not so much from the place itself, the restaurant itself, but from the farm, not plantation, the farm, sorry, the farm where it's prepared, because the corn, not porn, but corn is mixed with other types of grains, such as wheat, for example, and barley, for example. So that's where there might be a tiny trace of wheat, because the corn that's prepared is mixed with other types of, for example, grains at the farm. So, but obviously that's for somebody who's super sensitive. I mean, to have a reaction to that, you'd have to be like deathly allergic. So you have to be like deathly allergic. So, which I'm obviously not deathly allergic. They do say if you're very sensitive to like gluten, for example, they do say they can change their gloves beforehand in the with the burrito wraps because there is potentially traces, very small traces of like flour on their gloves. But the whole freaking point is they're actually a very good place for gluten sensitive stuff because they really pretty much everything at Chipotle is gluten free or gluten sensitive. It's never gluten free because it's not prepared in an entirely gluten free environment, but it's gluten sensitive. So I mean, all the meats gluten free, all the vegetables gluten free, all the cheese, all that stuff gluten free, all the salsa gluten free. The only thing that's not gluten free is their taco wraps, their burrito wraps, and their beer. So aside from that, even their fountain drinks are all gluten free, gluten sensitive. So they're actually a very good choice for gluten free or gluten sensitive eating. Jersey Mike's, on the other hand, is probably less ideal for less optimistic or ideal for gluten sensitive eating because there's a lot more cross contamination there. I don't worry as much about that crap, but there is a lot more cross contamination at a place like Jersey Mike's, for example. Because at Jersey Mike's, oh, so somebody's just texting me on my phone. Sorry about that. Yeah, there's a lot more cross contamination at Jersey Mike's because obviously there's a lot of like crumbs in the environment. They use like regular, for example, like regular like wheat bread, regular bread in general, nice big ass bread like the Big Ass Cigar, and there's a lot of like crumbs all over the place. Like their cutters they use for the meat, for example, have crumbs all over them. So even if they clean them off, they're probably not going to get every single crumb. So that's why they label as gluten sensitive. So like the deli meat and the deli cheese would be naturally gluten sensitive in most cases, but obviously there's crumbs everywhere in that environment. So that's why they definitely change your gloves beforehand. They also like really wipe off the cutter with a paper towel and like put like a special sheet down to make sure they're not getting like crumbs on your sandwich. But even with that, somebody who's definitely allergic would probably not be a very good idea for them to for them to eat in that environment because there's no guarantee that it could be gluten free. So some places are more ideal than other places for gluten sensitive eating. Like for example, there's a place near my house. I'm not going to say the name of the restaurant because obviously there's only one of these restaurants. It's not like a Burger King or a McDonald's. It's only one restaurant. I'm not going to say the name because I don't want to dox myself. It's like but this one restaurant. Basically, this restaurant, which I'll call, I don't know, Restaurant A. I'll just call it Restaurant A so I don't dox myself. Basically, this Restaurant A, essentially everything there they can make gluten sensitive. Everything there they can make gluten sensitive. They have gluten sensitive drinks. They have gluten sensitive everything. Everything there. Everything there that is gluten, they can make gluten free or gluten sensitive. But again, it's not prepared in an entirely like sterile environment. So yeah, again, not a good idea for somebody who's super sensitive because there is risk of what's called cross contamination. But honestly, at a certain point, you can't live under a rock, not a cock, but a rock. It's like you can't live under a rock, and it's like you really can't live under a rock and like only go to places that are allergen free. It's like, because honestly, really no restaurant is allergen free. There's really no, I mean, what are you going to do? Like never go to a restaurant because there's a risk of cross contamination? That's kind of living under a rock. It's like, that's like living under a rock. So, yeah, I don't see that. I don't see me ever doing that. So, I'd rather take the slight risk of potentially exposing myself to cross-contamination than like living under a rock. It's like, that's just living under a rock in general. It's like, I'm not going to do that crap. It's like, um, by no means of the stretching imagination am I trying to like encourage somebody who is like deathly allergic, who's gonna like break out in hives and start like profusely vomiting all over the place and like break out in hives and swelling and anaphylaxis and is gonna like have to be admitted to the hospital if they eat, wheat. But I mean, honestly, I'm not somebody like that. So the whole point I'm trying to make is, yeah, you kind of have to live your life. You kind of have to just go with the flow and live your life. So, sounded a little bit suggestive, but yeah, you just kind of have to live your life. It's like, you can't just live under a freaking rock. It's like, so anyway, so yeah, Chipotle is a pretty good option for gluten-sensitive stuff. Jersey Mike's is a so-so option. That restaurant A I was mentioning because I didn't want to dox myself. That place, restaurant A, is a good option. Then there's other. I think the majority of places actually have a pretty good gluten sensitive. The majority of places, like there was that one place I was talking about, which is a Chinese restaurant. I was mentioning this Chinese restaurant a couple weeks ago, and how basically, yes, there are things on the menu that are gluten sensitive, but basically they're essentially not even open about it. They're just not open about it. So, and some places are just not open about it. So it depends on the management. It depends on the business. It depends on, honestly, how comfortable they feel about being open about it. So, some places are just more open than other places. Um, so, aside from that, yeah, so gonna get takeout from the Chipotle most likely. Um, what else? So, yeah, so tomorrow I am working from 3 to 8. I'm working from 3 to 8, and I'm doing the carts. Not carts. Sorry, I'm bagging. Sorry, I'm bagging the big ass cigar, bagging groceries tomorrow. From 3 o'clock to 8 o'clock, doing my shift tomorrow. Not my shit tomorrow, my shift tomorrow. Sorry, and yeah, and then Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, I'm going to be doing 9 to 1. Doing carts, nice big ass carts like the big ass cigar. A lot of people ask me, some people have asked me in the past, a lot of people have asked me in the past, like, hey, Smoking Esty, are you really happy with what you do for a living? Like, are you really happy with your job? And the answer is I'm actually very happy with my job right now. So I'm very happy with my occupation, my job. I've mentioned this before on my channel, how I'm not ready to work full time, how full time employment, even though the vast majority of people who are my age work full time, the vast majority of people who are 30 years old, 35 years old, 25 years old, work full time. They work 40 hours a week. Monday through Friday, 9 o'clock to 4 o'clock, 9 o'clock to 5 o'clock, 9 o'clock to 6 o'clock. I'm just not ready for that crap right now. I'm just not ready to work full time. It's just something that really doesn't appeal to me right now. And thankfully, I'm not required to work full time. See, excuse me, I burped. Nice big ass pig like the big ass cigar. Um, and thankfully, I'm not required to work right now. See, most people my age don't qualify for subsidized housing, and that's why most people my age have to essentially work, 40 hours a week, 45 hours a week, is because they don't qualify for subsidized housing or public housing, and they have to get like a traditional apartment. See, my apartment is not a traditional apartment. It's not like, oh, you open up the newspaper and look for available apartments in the blank, blank, blank area. I was on a wait list for subsidized or public housing. So that's kind of the difference. So, So right now, I'm not paying a typical, typical run-of-the-mill rent. I'm not gonna say how much I pay, but that's obviously private. That's freaking private. It's like but I'm not paying a traditional like $3,000 rent, for example, or $2,000 rent, for example. I'm paying a very small amount compared to that. So anyway, yeah, that's why I currently don't have to work full time, is because I'm not paying traditional like 31-year-old adult bills. Because keep in mind, most people who are my age are paying thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars a month to support themselves. There's a lot of people my age are already married. A lot of people my age already have, for example, kids. They're already married and have kids, and they're paying thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars a month to support themselves. To keep a roof over their head, that kind of crap. And essentially, I'm not married myself. I'm single. I don't even have a girlfriend. I don't have a girlfriend. I'm not married. And essentially, thankfully, I don't have kids, nor am I ever planning on having kids. I'm not planning on ever having kids. So thankfully, my expenses are minimal. So because a lot of people ask me like, "Hey, Smokey Essie, like how the hell do you support yourself? With only working like under 20 hours a week." And the answer is basically, I live in a subsidized housing facility, and I only pay for a small amount of stuff, small amount of shit. It's like, I'm not paying the traditional expenses that most 31-year-old adults are paying. And you might say, well, that's really you're really cheating the system, whatever. But whatever. I'm not going to make a debate about that. So, but yeah. So essentially, I'm lucky for my age, because I'll tell you this: most people my age, we're not going to name names, we're not going to dox people, whatever, but most people my age are paying a hell of a lot more than I'm paying, and most people my age have to work 40 hours a week just to put a roof over their head. And I'm just very lucky ass, like the big ass cigar, that I'm just right now, I'm only paying like a fraction of that. So, and I know people can call me a lazy bum, whatever, a lazy bum or whatever, like a butt kiss or whatever, but whatever. So, yeah, I'm saying whatever a lot. So, anyway, so that's that. So I am happy with how many hours I'm working right now. People say, are you really happy only working 4 days a week? Are you really happy being a bag boy or being a cart person, not fart person, but cart person? And the answer is yes, I am happy. So, I currently have no interest in pursuing, if people watch my videos for a very long time, people watch my videos for a very, very long time, people know that I went to school to become a paralegal, and people might say, don't you miss like being a paralegal? Don't you miss like clerking in a law office? And honestly, I really don't miss it right now. Right now, I don't miss it enough to really look for a job in an office, or look for a job as like a file clerk, or like a clerk in an office. And I think I'm just not ready for that crap right now. So yeah. So I'm just happy, kind of doing my own thing, and I'm just happy with my life overall, so which is a good thing. So I think as long as you're happy, it's fine. So aside from that, so yeah, I am happy with my current living situation. I'm happy with you know, uh, working part time. Doing the car nice big ass car with a big ass cigar. Bagging the big ass cigar, and I'm happy. Just doing what I do now. So. Anyway, have a nice day, YouTubers. Pretty fucking cool. Bye.